Welcome to tonight's broadcast of Moscow Nightly News with your hosts, Matthew Kloss and Jacob Keeson. Weather with Tom Tucker and Ollie Williams.
Tonight we will be discussing the topographical, historical, and economical facts of the motherland.
And to start off the night, here's Ollie with a weather report.
It's gonna rain!
Solid. Now the country of Russia lies in the coordinates latitude 55 degrees, 45.8 north, and longitude 37 degrees, 36.56 east in the northern hemisphere of the globe. Russia's different climates consist of humid continental, subarctic, tundra, and very little semi-arid places. Because of its subarctic and tundra area, the continent has a lot of tundra vegetation, including wildflowers, mosses, and low shrubs.
Some of the most wonderful forests in the world are contributed to Russia. Evergreen forests like the Soshinesky and Losny Ostrov National Parks in Russia contain Russia's many different species of trees and wildlife. The trees include fir, larch, pine, and spruce, and the wildlife includes deer, wild boar, bears, and bobcats. And to the north, reindeer, yaks, polar bear, lynx, moose, and Arctic fox.
Russia's major landforms include the Northern European Plain, Ural Mountains, West Siberian Plain, Caucasus Mountains, and the Kolyma Mountains in the easternmost part of Russia.
Some of the rivers in Russia include the Volga, Ob, Ural, Lena, Yeseny, and the Indriga. Most of them flow south from the Arctic Ocean down to East Asia. The motherland is filled with a rich history and culture that began in the south, which is now Mongolia, China, and the Central Asian Republic. The people who settled here in Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, are known as the Slavs. While the Mongols remained in power, several states emerged. The strongest was the Muscovy. In the city, their chief city, was Moscow.
In the late 1400s, Ivan III, Prince of Russia,
Who wants this dog?
not now, Ollie, won control over parts of Russia from the Mongols. In 1547, Ivan IV, who became known as Ivan the Terrible, crowned himself Tsar, or Emperor of Russia. Russian fur trappers gradually migrated eastward into Siberia. The Cossacks were a hardy people from the southern frontier of the country and played a massive role in eastward expansion.
Now let's go to Ollie for a weather update. Ollie?
It's raining sideways!
Sounds rough, Ollie. Do you have an umbrella?
Had one!
Where is it?
Inside out 2 miles away!
Is there anything we can do for you?
Bring me some soup!
What kind?
Chunky!
All right, we'll get on that.
Thanks, guys. Now back to the news. The Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, wanted to remake Russia using the ideas of German philosopher Karl Marx. Marx believed that the working class were victims of capitalism. Under communism, the workers were to elect local bodies called Soviets and to pass laws and make decisions.
The Russian Empire was renamed the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, also known as the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union soon became a one-party totalitarian state, first led by Lenin. After Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin took power. Stalin's brutal rule lasted until 1953. Both Lenin and Stalin tried to promote a single Soviet culture.
In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed due to political reforms within the country, and the life in the Soviet Union changed dramatically. Citizens could now choose among candidates in elections. News from around the globe flowed more freely into Russia. For religious freedoms also expanded, and in addition, communism was being replaced by capitalism. Shoppers could buy new consumer products, and American fast food companies opened businesses here.
In the newly established market economy, many businesses that had been owned by the government are now in private hands in many ways. However, the rapid change had caused several hardships for our beloved country.
Tension between supporters and opponents of reform and among ethnic groups has grown. Unemployment and crime have increased, the poverty line has changed, and the gap between poor and rich is growing ever more larger. Public health care has declined, and many of the older, unemployed, and ill people find that the safety net provided by the old Soviet government has vanished.
Other issues faced are environmental issues. The Soviet Union was so set on making its country an economic power that it had paid little attention to the environmental problems they were facing. As a result, huge areas were ruined by pollution. Today, the region's governments have very little money to repair damage or require environmental safeguards. Perhaps one of the worst examples of environmental damage in the former Soviet Union was in the Ukraine. In 1986, a disastrous accident happened in the nuclear power plant Chernobyl, north of Kiev. The Soviet government tried to cover up the story, but it failed. Radiation from the explosions and fires contaminated millions of acres of forest and farmland. It spread as far away as Sweden and France.
Finding solutions to these problems and other challenges will be difficult. However, they are not impossible to overcome. The future of the economy that once belonged to the Soviet Union is now not necessarily a prisoner to the past. This has been Moscow Nightly News with Jacob Gieson and Matthew Kloss. I'm Ollie and Tom with the weather. Signing off.